fan interference.
And we're back. I'm actually in the studio. That's hilarious.
Yeah, for this week.
Yeah, Jarling. Tim, good to see you. Everett, good to see you.
Yep.
I'm glad you could see
Gang's
me.
all here.
Gang's all here except for Bijan. Now, Bijan probably could have made it last week when I couldn't make it, and we had to scrap it. And then we do have it, and he goes, something happened. You got to believe this, guys. But the GM has called for an all-white party. We're going to discuss our next adventure into the WNBA for the Washington Wizards. But all right, so what's going on? What's going on?
Do you have a plan?
What's going on? No,
I don't. When we start and say 3, 2, 1, do you actually have a plan?
You ain't know the answer to that is absolutely not.
Where are we?
You should feel right at home. This is what happens every
Sorry,
time.
I got distracted by your beard.
It should be.
Yeah.
It is a thing of beauty.
So a downtime really in sports, though, but Major League Baseball, we went over the torpedo bats. I think we're kind of seeing what we talked about, Everett, like it was going to start dying down.
Has anyone mentioned it since then?
No, that's right. It's kind of died down.
Yeah. It was the new shiny toy, and then 2 weeks later, nobody cares.
I want to tell you this, though. I was watching my Sox play yesterday.
Yeah.
At where Tampa Bay is playing their games because of I think God told you, gave them an idea, like stop with the Tropicana Dome. I mean, and the sun was coming down at this George Steinbrenner Stadium, which you think he owned everything.
And it's the Yankees minor league facility.
Yeah, and it's 11K that they hold. It was gorgeous. Like, I feel that Tampa should do, like, it just looked like a baseball field, and I felt like the fans enjoyed it. I felt like it was just a 1-0 win. That was it. It was weird. But it was just like I stayed and watched it longer. Like when you watch the Tropicana games, like it seems like you're watching a game on carpet, and it just looks like it just looks dilapidated. This one, it just was pristine. The grass looked beautiful. Maybe because you got the outdoors natural light, but I was very, very impressed, and I hope that is a sign for Tampa.
But the issue you have is
Seating,
right? You've got to have more than 11,000 people to a Major League Baseball game.
Really? Even with Tampa? Because they've had some problems with...
They have, but I think you still got to be around 25. Like,
yeah,
I'm not saying a 40 or 50,000 seat stadium, but around 25 to 30, I think is sort of minimum to expect to come to a game. Maybe not on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Maybe you're only going to get 20, but for the weekend, I think you would expect, 25 to 30 to come see a game. Yeah. The problem with Tampa, well, as someone who has actually been to Tropicana Field and seen a game live, coincidentally enough, also a 1-0 Cardinal victory. It's not a bad place to walk up to. Like, you go into it and you can literally walk all the way around it. But like you said, the turf is so discolored. It's got patches in it.
Yeah, it looks like the air conditioner unit is leaking.
Yeah, and it's kind of a dreary.
Can you imagine what
place.
It smells like down on the field?
Yeah, exactly. That's
it's like when you go to Disney World and all the like it's been raining and from people's shoes and stuff, and the carpet starts getting that awful rank smell.
I mean, like it's just if Florida is known for the Sunshine State.
Right.
I get because there's storms. Yeah,
thunderstorms.
I get the storms. I get that, especially in that time of year where it's like every afternoon it's right at 3:00 or whatever. There's thunderstorms, and then like an hour later it's clear. But you got to have a retractable roof or something. It's got to be something where you can see the sunlight, because once the sunlight is out, if you avoid the storms, if you have a way to protect yourself from the storms, and then when it's a beautiful day like it was yesterday for that game, like it's just gorgeous, man. That looks like a baseball field. You feel, it felt like baseball to me, as opposed to that inside that looked like an old 1987 state of the art then.
Yeah.
Like
it was state of the art in 87.
when it was built, state of the art. It wasn't even. When was it built? It was like 96. Was it? It was. I mean, I remember when it was. It was the talk of the town. In fact, they had the NCAA championship game there in '99. So like that was like wow, come check this out. But now it's just like quickly went. So
yeah, well, it wasn't kept up very well, and like you said, it's not a bad building. It's just the turf always looked so bad. And there's nothing really, because it's a dome, because it's inside, there's nothing really cool about it. It's like you don't have sight lines at all because you're inside. You don't have any sun because you're inside. It's just not a very attractive place to watch a game.
That was a passing fancy. When they were all about indoor games, with Astros, and they had to do that because of the bugs. But it was like, oh, sweet, it's indoor. And then after a while, you're like, I kind of miss, I want to be outdoors. It was cool to be indoors for a little bit, but now
and there aren't very many.
No.
The Astrodome was a dome. Obviously, It was the first one. And, Sky Dome in Toronto was interesting, but it did have a retractable roof. Mm-hmm. Montreal tried the retractable roof, but it was broken for so many years that they could never get it to work right.
We have to cancel today's game. Why? It's stuck.
No, they literally for like 3 years the thing didn't move.
Yeah,
like the retractable roof wasn't retracting. It was open all the time, I think. And then they finally got it to start working again, and then they moved to Washington. But I don't know, baseball should be played outside. I don't like domes. I've been in a couple of them for baseball games, and it's just weird. I just like being outside for a game.
Yeah, I think all the sports should be played outdoors, especially, but minus basketball and hockey. I mean,
even some hockey.
That kind of just. But to me, I thought that was like oh, cool, we're outdoors. And then you're like, oh, I realize I would like to be indoors because it is winter. It's a winter sport.
And it's cold.
It's cold. So
45 degrees all of a sudden seems warm.
Yeah. I thought it's awesome, like where you can go around the concourse and you feel a little bit warmer. Then you go back onto the ice or near the ice and it gets a little chillier. That's okay. But now when it's like, hey, let's be cold the entire time. And that also goes with the news that Washington has been approved to get the RFK site, which is great news for me. Finally get rid of that dilapidated hellhole they call, what's it called now? So it was FedEx, now it's called something else. I don't know what it's called. But anyway, I just call it, I call it I call it the shanty. But so that, and they won't be able to get in there until the start of 2030.
So you got 5 more years of this place?
Yeah.
What's happened? They turned into a soccer field, didn't they?
They did. It was used for DC United. It was used for the Nationals at one point.
Were the Nationals using it?
For a little bit.
Until they built their new place.
Well, I heard that the Nationals park is not that great. When I went, I thought it was fantastic.
I haven't been. I would like to go, but I have not been to Nationals
Park. I thought it was great because it's right there on the the waterfront, which is the other idea was for Washington to get a stadium in that same spot. But now I always wanted to be in RFK, so you're actually in DC, and now my dream's coming true, at least for right now. So I hope that they can make it, or hope that they can fix it so it does look RFK-like, so you kind of bring back that magical feeling to it for all those Washington fans that remember that. But
I was going to say
it's going to be state-of-the-art stuff.
They've got to be over 40, right?
Yeah, it's true. But you can. If Bijan was here, he would tell you he hears stories about how it was. It was
sure.
It's not it was not 85K. It was like 60 or 55 to 60K.
Well, the whole reason they moved is because it was small and didn't have luxury boxes.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to add luxury boxes at minimum.
Oh yeah, they will.
And I guess that's this 5-year renovation that it's going to go through.
So they're not going to tear it down and build over. They're going to renovate.
That's what I hear. That's what my impression is. But I need to look more into it to see if they are going to if they're going to completely. I don't think they'll tear it down. honestly, because it stayed up for that long. It looked like it was on the set of The Walking Dead for a while. It's like this thing in the middle of a parking lot that it's been untouched for a while. Like no one even uses it. Because I remember flying into DC, and then I see it looking down. I'm like, wow, that place at one point was like my Disney World. Like I always wanted to get there. And now look at it, looks like it's part of The Walking Dead. Yeah, it's the end of the world. So I'm glad they're able to get that same spot. Plus, again, you're going to Landover, Maryland, which is a ride out of DC, and the closest metro station is a mile away from the stadium, which makes no logical sense. So that's good.
I think they should be in DC. I think if you're a DC team, you should be in DC. And I know Anthony Kornheiser went crazy when the Nationals and the Bullets were talking about moving to Northern Virginia. Mm-hmm. And he went on a long rant about, why they shouldn't. But I think they should be in DC. I think that's where they should be. And I mean, look, I'm not going to a game, but if you're from there and you love the team, I think you want to be in DC.
Yeah, and not have to go to Landover, Maryland. So,
or even Northern Virginia. I think that's not.
Anybody seen the Red Sox doc on Netflix?
No.
It's pretty good. Even if you're a baseball fan, you should like it. It's in depth. It's done well. I've only seen 2 episodes. Makes me really like Duran even more, because he is crazy, but he's also like passionate about the team, passionate about the way he plays. So there's just a bunch of characters for that Red Sox teams, which I had heard before that they were like characters. Now you actually get a chance to witness them. Like Duran still drives a Bronco, an old Bronco, and it broke down outside of Fenway, and they're having to try to like get AAA to come fix it right after a game. So, and someone yelled at him, "You're a Red Sox. Why do you have a Bronco?" He goes, "Why not? I like the Bronco. It works." So, I think that they're onto something with Netflix.
I don't know. This whole docuseries things about teams and sports. I think they're just marketing tools.
Wait a minute. But we talked about this how F1 did it,
right? And they made a ton of money. And since then,
it helped
every other marketing person in America goes, "Ooh, maybe we should do a marketing campaign like they did on F1."
Everybody follows each other.
Exactly. But it's played out. F1 was cool. That was neat. Now they got a golf one.
Yeah.
I don't care. They've got, and all these things are team specific. They're literally docuseries on whatever team you like. So if you're a fan of the team, you'll watch it. And if you're not a fan of the team, you don't give a shit.
Well, I mean, I'm a fan of football, so I'll watch the Hard Knocks because
I've never seen Hard Knocks. You know why? Because it's stupid. Like I don't want to watch practice. If I want to watch practice, I'll go to practice. I can go to practice literally every day.
I enjoyed watching the Lions behind the scenes. That made me really give a lot of respect to Campbell. That's why I have respect
for him because his team got better.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that
I can
too.
See that
but
every Sunday.
No. Well, I mean, you already could see that moving in that direction. And then you actually get to see how he works. And I was like, I love this guy. Like, this is a team that I would jump on right away if I wasn't such a, loyal Commander skin.
What I like best about it is the behind the scenes. You know how I am about that.
Yeah,
like the front office stuff and like this when they were doing the Giants, when they were trying to debate what they were going to do with Saquon, and I thought that was great.
Or like the GM's asking his son who should draft, and he goes, "I say we get Jalen Daniels." Like, I don't know about that.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just have a different opinion of it. But my thing is, it just seems to be a marketing ploy. Like, I don't get any real entertainment out of, and maybe it's just the fact that I don't care about the teams. If they did one on the Cardinals or the Falcons or the Hawks, maybe I would probably watch. But if it's not a team that I care about, then I just don't care. I mean,
the in-depth part, if it's just more of like a fluff, and then you're like, it's all fluff, then I'm like, all right, I can get it. And I would still watch it if it's my team. But this has the analytics, the pitching analytics, the numbers.
Get enough of that
Yeah, you do.
in
but
my job.
You do.
Like,
you do. But
you and
also,
I work with people who are very big into analytics. We see that every day.
That's true, but you just don't see it on the major league scale, and you see how people respond. Like, there's a great story about this guy. His name's Cam Boozer, and his career path, everything is just like every time he gets derailed with like an injury, something bad happens to his family, and he finally breaks through and gets to play in the major leagues. And when you see how it's all put together and told, you're like, man, you feel for that. Like, that's a good story that you feel for that guy, that he's worked his tail off to get to the majors, and he finally did.
But is that not everyone who's ever made the majors?
Well, I mean, everybody's got their own story, right?
Right.
But this guy was like, he's third. He's almost like the natural, like the story. He's like 31. Mm-hmm. He was highly recruited out of high school. He had he broke his femur playing like football, and then he was out for a year, and then he just kind of like, then he had Tommy John surgery. It was like surgery after surgery after surgery after surgery. But he then he was. I have to go back and look at the episode. He just like, all right, well, I'm just gonna do something in the private sector, blah blah. Then one day we just out just like the movie Rookie.
Yeah,
he just starts throwing. He's like, oh, you still got zip. So,
but I get it. But it's kind of like the Olympics. The Olympics, every time they have it, they have all these human interest features, and they tell you how much long suffering these people have been doing, and it's very emotional and sweet. But I don't actually care. Like, I want to see the events. I want to see the games. I want to see the athletic competition. I know everyone who has ever made the majors has been through shit. I've told you the story of my friend Kevin Madison, who has 2 major league at-bats, was in the minor leagues for 8 years to get 2 GD major league at-bats. I think it's amazing that he actually got 2 major league at-bats. That's 2 more than everybody else you know. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a cool story, but no one's ever going to tell it because it's Kevin Madison that nobody's ever heard of. So, yeah. I
mean, I don't know. I think
every single major league player has a story and has had to overcome stuff to get there because it's hard.
Oh, it is. But I mean, it's also motivational too for you, is that you have these motivational stories that some that they don't have such an interesting story. Like for the case of
Steve.
Boozer, Boozer, like, I mean, like, that's where you just like sit back and you're like, wow, like if you're feeling down on yourself, you look at this Boozer story and be like, okay, there's some that might have little mishaps. There might be just small blips on the screen. This had a huge blips, like a couple big blips, and he still fought for his dream. So I just feel like there's a lot of there's a big appetite of getting more involved in the team and inside to make sure you get like even closer to these players and understand them, know who they are. And so that's why you saw with F1 and people flock to it.
Right, but I think it was because F1 was first.
Well, Hard Knocks was first.
Yeah, and it was great the first. Well, I don't know. I've never watched it, but I heard it was great the first couple of years, and then I think it's kind of tailed off.
I mean, they also did the EPL stuff with they got a soccer team and followed it, which was before the F1.
Yeah.
But
and they did the thing with Reynolds' team, Waxham or whatever the hell that team's called. They did one with them. But my point is, it's all marketing. It's all just these marketing execs go, oh, look, we can do this behind the scenes.
We have to understand, too, ladies and gentlemen, that Everett doesn't watch advertising.
I don't.
So any marketing,
I don't watch advertising. I hate
that's
marketing.
Why he is.
I do. I hate it.
Yeah.
Clearly. It's not something I'm interested in. And that's why when I watch the Olympics, people, human interest. Look what they've overcome. I don't care. Show me the game. Show me the event. I care way more about games and events than I do.
Maybe you're just different because I might just be an asshole. That's fine. No, I do know is that if even when I was in the news, like it was like if you could find a local athlete and then do an in-depth thing, it was like you had to do it right away. And we sent 2 camera crews out there.
I know, and I hate that stuff.
Of course you do, but
I do. I don't like it at all.
Apparently we got viewers, so that's work.
There is. Look. I understand that I'm different. I know there is a market for it. People watch Netflix. People are watching that stuff. And there are some people, and it used to be, they did it for the female population. It was, how do we get female viewers? Oh, we got to show human interest.
Right.
And yes, there's a market for it. It's just not me.
No, okay. Well, I mean, I think, would I do this? Would I get all excited about it if it was the Yankees? No. I probably would watch it a little bit. I mean, I watched Man City for their thing. Like, I just like to see how these players interact behind the scenes, because you always see them when the camera's on and when the lights are on and it's time for the game, which is like, that's great. You know how this is the stage. This is where they play. But how do they prepare? What's the chemistry like? What goes on around the like, who gets along with who's goofy? You just kind of want to get that idea. And if you have a way to get VIP to get inside a good look at it, like you feel
VIP.
Exactly. That's what I liked about you, Steve. So I mean, I think that's great. Like, I liked Tristan Casas. I liked Duran, especially how Duran like started where he was booed off the field and he came back and then got to the All-Star game. Like, I love those stories. And then I got to like actually see them, hear them tell their story and they're behind scenes and stuff. I was like, man, I love this team even more. Then you have like Rafael Devers that finally gets this big contract and he's like joking around in the locker room and he's like, let's get 3 bottles of the best red wine, and they're all just chilling there having red wine. Like, I mean, it's just, to me, that I like that. Maybe I'm different.
No, you're not different, but you're trying to convince him, who's pretty not stuck. It's not the good word. Who is firm in his convictions and just
What I would rather do than watch a documentary on these stories is I would rather hear people who are in it tell stories. Like, we know Larry Sorensen. Larry Sorensen played in the major leagues for 15 years.
And he's got 15,000 stories.
He does. But some of them are really interesting. Most of them aren't
to me,
for
all
public
of them are.
information.
Yeah.
But I would rather listen to him tell me a story about being with the Cleveland Indians in 1983 than I would rather watching a documentary on something that's happening right now. To be perfectly honest.
I like them both.
Like I said,
I like when you go Ken Burns and look at the old stuff with the Major League Baseball, and you see you hear other stories from other from major leaguers, like the one about Bob Uecker in the tuba. That's
right.
Hilarious.
No, you're right. Bob Uecker stories I can listen to all day. Whitey Herzog stories I can listen to all day
because they all have a cardinal in them.
No. Okay. Uecker doesn't. Well, he did play for the Cardinals, but he was
World Series.
He was never any good with the Cardinals. Here's the one that's not a Cardinal.
He wasn't good.
Here's one that's not a Cardinal. Earl Weaver. I could listen to him all day. Tom Lasorda. I could listen to him all day. Mm-hmm. These are characters who tell stories and are interesting. And maybe there are people now, but I'm not as interested in the people now. As I am the people who were back then when the game was a lot different.
No, yeah, I mean, I totally agree. You get somebody that was actually there and Larry's having story time, and in the games that I've done with Larry, like, I just sit back like a kid and just like, no, keep going.
It's great.
I forget I'm doing a game. Keep going. What'd you hear about Robin Yount? What else? Yeah. What did I say? Yount?
Yount.
I'm not going to. You're not. You won't.
Yount gonna be a him.
But I mean, like I said, I would rather listen to that than watch a docu-series that's a marketing campaign for what
that's just me.
They like. All right, let's get into some actual news. We've been bullshitting for 30 minutes.
You said there's nothing going on. So.
I said there's plenty going on. I gave you 6 items to talk about on an email that you obviously didn't read.
You emailed me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
shut up, Steve.
What happened? I want to get into this football drama because I am curious into your perception.
Here we go.
I wish I knew this guy's last name, but I don't. So I'm just going to call him Nico. Nico Iamaleava.
Yeah.
Viola. I don't know how to say his last name.
This is funny on both parts, but go ahead.
But let me give you the background, just for those who listening who may not have heard, although
Or Tim.
You haven't heard of this, really? So Nico, starting quarterback at the University of Tennessee. Let's remember that the University of Tennessee was in the college football playoff last year.
Was he? Is he starting, or is he
the starting quarterback for the University of Tennessee?
He started last year.
Okay. The entire season, played in every game, started every game, was in the college football playoff.
Okay.
Earned $2.2 million in NIL last season. Seems like a good deal to me. Mm-hmm. But going into this season, someone in his camp. Now it's not clear whether it was him, a father, a relative, a bad friend. Somebody told him he was worth $4 million, and that Tennessee should pay him the $4 million. So he asked Tennessee for $4 million. Tennessee gave him the proverbial finger, and so he did not show up for the spring game. And because he didn't show up, Josh Heupel, the head coach at Tennessee, basically kicked him off the team.
Yep.
And said, "You're done. You're not going to play here."
Here's the funny thing about that story, though.
Okay, go for it.
You ready?
Yep.
Tennessee fought tooth and nail against NCAA because of the recruiting violations, whatever. So that to the point where NCAA said, "You know what? When it comes to NIL, we're hands off." And then now, guess what? Tennessee's all crying like, hey. So it's like,
I don't think that's it.
Yes, it is it.
No, I don't think so. And the reason I don't think that's it, like, I agree with you. They fought for him and they cheated, or would have cheated, tried to get him in pass. And the NCAA is hands off on NIL. We know this. But he basically said, I'm not going to practice. I'm not going to show up unless you give me the $4 million. They're already giving him $2 million. They said no.
Well,
they said, look, we're just not going to do it.
Also, the other reaction is haha because of Tennessee and what they did by saying.
Are you a fan of an SEC team?
If NCAA, please, we're backing off the NIL, so that you have to deal with this. You deal with this, and then that's like, now you need somebody to step in. But the other thing is that's hilarious is you and I and Tim, who doesn't pay that much attention, is like, who is surprised by this? Like, we knew this was going to happen.
Right. And that's the overall, and that's what we're getting to. It's A, did he make a good decision? Like, is he going to get $4 million from UCLA, which is where he's going to transfer to? He's from California.
I heard they don't have enough money.
Exactly. So he's probably not getting the $4 million. The next question is he going to get $2 million from UCLA? Maybe, maybe not. So the question becomes, is holding out? Yes, NFL players hold out all the time.
Or Carolina could going to swoop in, since apparently they've got a money tree now.
No, he's already committed to UCLA.
That's happened now?
Yeah, that happened yesterday. So he's already committed to UCLA. But whether we saw it coming or not is irrelevant. Mm-hmm. What's important is he tried to hold out for more money. The school said no. Now he's going somewhere else. Do you believe he is going to get the $2 million he was guaranteed a week ago? Or is he going to have to settle for less? Or is he going to actually make more? How this plays out has nothing to do with whether we saw it coming or not. How it plays out is if he makes $3 million, he's a hero. If he makes $1 million, he's an idiot. Mm-hmm. What is it going to be?
Yep. With how if UCLA is able to get some money, I'm probably betting on that he would get over. He'll get 3.5 or $3 million.
You think so?
What do you get?
I don't know. I don't think it's been put out.
Oh.
I doubt he makes $3 million. I seriously, if he makes any more than the $2 million, I'll be really surprised, because there's no reason for UCLA to give him any more than he was making at Tennessee. Because basically, when he got let go, his name got slurred through the mud and his market value declined tremendously. He quit on his team. He left the program because he wanted more money. He only gave a shit about money. And that's not the kind of player that most people want. And so I think he's going to make less than $2 million. He might make the $2 million. But my guess is he's in that $2 million or less range. And I do not think he'll make more than he would have made at Tennessee. Plus, not playing at Tennessee, who was a college football playoff team last year, now going to UCLA, who's terrible. He's not going to get as many eyeballs.
They're going to be in the Big Ten, so
yeah, but they're UCLA.
It's UCLA.
He'll get eyeballs against Michigan and Ohio State. The other 10 games, nobody's paying attention to.
You don't think like there's always a chance that UCLA is going to get good again, or they'll be somewhat competitive?
No,
really. Okay,
they're not.
UCLA, the University of California in Los Angeles.
Yeah, private school.
Okay.
No, seriously. In the Big Ten, against Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State, they're not even as good as USC. They would be fighting for 6th. And actually, if you count Indiana, who was in the playoff, they're fighting for 7th. Mm-hmm. No, I don't think they're going to be any good.
Okay. Well, noted. It seems like if you get a bunch of donors, then you could create your own team anyway.
Well, if you can't get donors in LA, I don't know where else you're going to get donors from. But the point is, like you just said, UCLA doesn't have any money.
Apparently, they got some.
I don't know. I don't know if they did or not. Like, do you think he got? You seem to think he got $3 million. I'll be shocked if he got $3 million. I don't know why you'd pay him. Well, like if he just declined, if Tennessee just got rid of him, said go away, then he's not worth the $2 million that they were paying him, or they don't think. Mm-hmm. Why would I pay him anything more than that?
Yeah, because it's like if they thought, well, maybe there's worth saving, then they would have negotiated.
Paid him. Yeah. Right. I if he makes more than $2 million, I'll be shocked.
Well, look it up, I-Team. Do you know what he's doing?
You can't, because it's not. It's UCLA, private school. They don't have to tell you shit.
Someone's maybe uttered it.
They hadn't as of this morning.
Yeah.
Maybe they did.
No utterance of involved.
No utterance.
Yeah, none. All right, one more story that I'm kind of interested in, your opinion. Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter says playing both ways is essential. He would rather quit playing football than only play one position.
I did hear this one.
See, there you go. Draft day's next week. You're Mr. Draft Guy. What do you think about Mr. Travis Hunter's?
I think
would rather quit than play just one position.
I think he's a good athlete anyway, or he's the best available in the draft. Do it anyway. Like he's that good, so he can turn a whole franchise around, like with his ability. So if he can do both.
No, it's not a matter of whether he can.
It's a matter of do you want to put him in the situation to get hurt double the amount of times as normal.
And I'll bring him in and then for both positions.
And then have a sit down with him about the numbers. Like, but with this, you could possibly end your career.
Well, and
quickly.
That's the deal.
Yeah.
If you are an NFL team and you're going to take this guy probably in the top 5, right, and you're going to pay him a lot of money, obviously in the NFL you can get hurt on any play. No matter what position you play, you can get hurt. That's not the issue. But if you're paying somebody a lot of money to be a receiver or a defensive back, they're on the field 50 plays, 45, 50 plays, something like that. Now he's on the field 85 to 90 plays. That gives him more chances to be hurt, but it also helps your team. The team that I think would benefit from Travis Hunter is the number 3 pick, the New York Giants. The New York Giants are terrible. They need a lot of help at a lot of different positions.
They need a quarterback.
They don't need a quarterback. They just signed 2 of them.
They're going to get Shedeur Sanders.
If they do, they're stupid.
He's going to go to the Steelers.
Shedeur?
Mm-hmm. If the Giants draft a quarterback, they're idiots. And they're all getting fired. No, seriously. Their head coach is on the hot seat. Their GM is probably on the hot seat. They need to win sooner rather than later. If they pull a quarterback who has to develop for a year after they just signed Jameis Winston and
Russell
Wilson, they just signed 2 quarterbacks. They need help at more than quarterback.
Oh, yeah, they do.
They need a lot of position help. which is why I think they should draft Travis Hunter, because now you got 2 positions covered with one guy. He wants to play both ways. You're going to let him because you don't have better options at these positions. Mm-hmm. And now you get one guy and you get 2 positions filled that you have a need at.
Yeah. At least you could start them off like that. And if you try to fill both holes, then I can definitely see that scenario working and would pound the table for that.
I just think they would be stupid to bring in a quarterback when their head coach and GM are on the hot seat. They've got to do some winning now.
That's what I am. That's why I'm surprised that there is a lot of talk with the Giants and Shador. There has been a link up between them for a while. With getting Russell Wilson, you would say, okay, well, that's not going to happen. You could also they're playing the game of, they're going to play the game of, they might be getting him. We're going to have to try to see if we can trade up.
No, I think that's part of it.
But
I think they would love to do that. I think they would love to trade back with somebody.
Yeah.
He's going to Pittsburgh.
You think he's going to last that long? Where did they draft? They draft like 15th, right?
20th.
You think he's going to drop that one? You think he's going to
last that long?
I've looked at 4 different mock drafts, and each one of them have him going to the Steelers.
Wow. I mean, he has been falling.
Yeah, that was the big thing that they were talking about, that he has been falling. So.
I think a lot of that is smoke. But I think because
he thinks everything's a lie.
Because I think with Colorado, that system is more pro ready, more pro. Like that, he is big. He's a big player. He has endured a lot of let's say takedowns and hits. And Colorado was shite before they even got there, so just enable to get the turnaround where you get at least a winning season is pretty impressive. So I think I'm not buying the fact that he's dropping all the way to 20, but we'll see. It's always the fun thing about the draft. So.
All right.
I mean, remember when they had the last year's where you heard a lot about Caleb. You heard a little bit about Jaden. Little. And that's because like Washington was set and they weren't going to show their cards or anything. And it was just like, let them talk about Caleb and everything. The more of that, the better. And they were able to draft Jaden because they even had a higher grade of Jaden than Caleb.
Well, this year it's Cam Ward, number 1 to Tennessee. Everybody is in full lockstep that's going to happen. I've not heard anything about Cam Ward.
No, that's
because everyone says he's going to Tennessee.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I'm just talking about the other stuff. So you take Ward out, then everything else is on the table. So
who has the second pick?
But
I can't remember. I knew the Giants are at 3 and I knew Tennessee was at 1. I can't remember who the second pick is. But whoever that is probably needs a quarterback. I'm guessing. I'm going to wait until I know what the team is. But the Browns definitely need a quarterback. No question about it. Need a quarterback.
We're getting Kirk Cousins.
They might get Kirk Cousins, actually.
So it's Tennessee, Cleveland, New York, Giants, and then the Patriots, and then Jaguars, Raiders, Jets, and then Panthers.
Raiders need a quarterback. They might get Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins could go to a lot of teams at this point.
Raiders,
they're all going to
have Geno now.
No, they got Geno.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say they still need a quarterback?
You always feel like the Raiders have that.
Although I don't know, Geno, he's been good
because he's going to be with Pete Carroll.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, fair.
You feel like the Raiders have the same kind of mold. Like you put Garoppolo and Geno like on the same like.
No, Geno's much better than Garoppolo.
Yeah, but I mean the style of quarterbacking.
Still think Geno's more athletic.
Yeah, I agree there. It seems like there's a certain specific one that the Raiders get. I mean, again, and I thought they did well with their backups playing as starters. So,
well, the thing about all of these teams that are picking in the top 5, obviously they all weren't very good last year, and so they need they need more than one thing. Like, it's not just the quarterback. Some of them need a line. Some of them need defensive help. And so it's like, where do you go for that? And I think I don't know what the Browns are going to do. They'll probably pick a quarterback, although they might pick Shador, although I kind of doubt it. But I don't know who the other quarterbacks in the draft.
Well, they're quiet, so that is a.
And then, like I said, New York has been talking about a lot of people. They had Shador in for a workout. They had another guy in for a workout. They had Travis Hunter in for a workout. They've been working out a bunch of players, but because it's New York, you always hear about it.
Of course.
And so I think they should get Travis Hunter. I just think for a team that's as bad as they are, if you can get one player and solve two positions, I think that's a big help.
Look, if I want the best of the best in the draft, it's Travis Hunter, hands down. In the whole draft. As far as talent-wise, everything, he's the best.
The Browns are taking the linebacker from Penn State, aren't they? Or the edge rusher from Penn State?
Yeah. Yes, edge rusher, yes.
Edge rusher from Penn State. That's who they're taking.
The one that's hurt.
Was hurt. I think he's fine now.
Okay.
Yeah. They paid all that money to keep Miles Sanders, so they got a contingent with
Miles Sanders.
Miles Garrett, yeah.
Steve
Garrett. Steve Garrett.
Well, I agree. I think it's after Tennessee. It's throw a dart and see wherever it lands.
I don't know. I think the edge rusher from Penn State, a lot of people like. I think he's going to go 2. I think Hunter goes 3. After that, I agree. After that, whatever you think is best. But I think those are the 3 top picks. Let's jump. Do you want to stay with football or do you want to go to golf?
Stay with football because
you don't know shit about golf.
No.
Okay. We got to get to the golf because the golf's important. But we'll stay with the UFL. The UFL, which I know Tim watches.
I haven't seen much this year, but that's only because I haven't been home to watch it.
Oh, okay. I was getting worried because so I watched a little bit of a game, 2 games. One was Birmingham and somebody, and the other one was Memphis and somebody. And there was nobody in the crowd. Like, I've been to Legion Field in Birmingham, and you can tell when there's nobody there. I actually went to the first ever what was it called back then? The Ed McMahon League?
XFL.
XFL, that's one. I went to the first ever XFL game in Birmingham against Memphis, actually. I was there.
And He Hates Me was on?
Yeah, well, that was the guy that was in the league. I don't think he played in that game. But I went to that game, and there was nobody there either. So I've seen Legion Field empty. And it was definitely empty when they were playing their game. Memphis apparently is just dreadful as far as attendance goes. Mm-hmm. The one team that's drawing
St. Louis
is the St. Louis Battlehawks, which is a funny name. But I think it's funny because they used to be the St. Louis Hawks in basketball. And then they just said, well, we'll change it slightly and make them the Battlehawks.
Battlehawks.
Cooler. That's more of a football name.
Right.
But my feeling is St. Louis has been pissed off at the Rams owner for years because he basically said, Kroenke, basically said, I can't have a team in St. Louis because they don't support football. They're a baseball town. They don't support football. And so he took the Rams back to LA. Well, since they got the Battlehawks, St. Louis is averaging 34,000 per game, which is impressive because the league average is 12,000. Mm-hmm. So they're double the league average at games in St. Louis, which is basically giving the finger to Kroenke and saying, look, this is a football town. We want an NFL team back.
They can't do it at Edward Jones building, though.
Yeah, that dome.
They call it.
Yeah, it used to be the Edward Jones. Now it's the dome at something
crazy.
I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think they need a new place to play if they want an NFL team.
Yeah.
But what do you think the prospects are of showing the world that 34,000 are coming to games in St. Louis?
I think that's awesome.
14 are going to games everywhere else.
No, I think that's good because it's like if I want to see NFL back in St. Louis, and that's a way to say wake up. We've got football frenzy here too. So
because like I said, Memphis is averaging 6,000. They're at the bottom of the league. It's really bad there.
And I think what the problem that they have, because it's not bad football, it's slow, but it's not bad football. I think the problem is they have them in places that nobody gives a shit. Outside of St. Louis.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
The Arlington Renegades instead of Dallas.
Well, the problem is they have 3 teams in Texas. They have San Antonio, Arlington, and Houston.
Yes.
You only have 8 teams in the league.
Yes.
So to have 3 of them in Texas seems disproportionate.
Yeah.
The DC franchise is doing better than the league average. They're getting 14 instead of 12.
They have the beer cup snake that's what they're best known for.
That's what they're going for. Okay.
Yeah.
what's the beer cup? What's that?
So for people who are drinking it, they like to see how long the beer snake will go.
Oh, yeah.
And it's sometimes, really, 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 really long.
So San Antonio is getting about 12,000, which is about the league average. Yep. In Birmingham, which is a football town, although it's a college football town, but it's a football town, is getting 10. Those are the 4 highest attended cities.
Yeah.
St. Louis, DC, San Antonio, and Birmingham.
I pull for San Antonio.
Yeah.
Mainly because when they first started in the resurgence of the XFL, Hines Ward was the coach for them.
There you go.
And it's just really the only one I find interesting because Houston Gamblers or whatever they are, I hate their color scheme.
Jim Kelly played for him.
The Michigan team, the Panthers, they just get on my nerves. Birmingham gets on my nerves. They got rid of all the good places in the XFL.
What were the good places?
I liked the Seattle team. The Seattle team.
This is what I mean. This is what they need to do in order to get this.
They
this
need
thing.
a Netflix docuseries.
Yes. No. I wouldn't. Hey, don't.
Marketing people are already on it. Get marketing
but what
online
they need to do is they need to have some kind of relationship with the NFL because there's so many good players.
Well, they do,
but they need to make it so it is like a. So you do see like some stars or whatever that's fallen to try to get back on pace.
They do.
Well, so you say what team has say they're a feeder to what team?
Well, it's not like
that's
it's
what
not. It's
that's what
not
they need to
Not
do.
a minor league.
That's what they need to have. So they need to have something like that. So there is a relationship. So these football fans have like something to.
Well, the problem is there are 30 NFL teams. There are only 8 UFL teams. So you would have an impossible time having a feeder system.
And the reason they
only
did
the highest bidder gets one though.
was that they can't get control or hold of the actual stadiums in the other places.
Right. Mercedes-Benz is being used for soccer.
Yeah.
That's a bad. Where in DC?
No, in Atlanta.
Oh, no, that's right. It's Audi, the one in DC for. That's a great place.
Yeah. I just think there's a lot of things going against it. I think it has promise. They've just got to keep it going. It's not going to just be an overnight sensation. We already know that.
Yeah, it's already in year 2, 3?
3.
3. It's still not an overnight sensation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found it interesting because I flipped on a game and the Birmingham team, like I said, I lived in Birmingham for a while. I saw now the Stallions were the USFL team. The Bolts were the XFL team, which was a stupid name. Actually, it really was a stupid name. But the Stallions were the USFL, and they brought that back, and they won last year, I think, didn't they?
They did.
And so you would think that the team that won would be doing a little bit better than 10,000.
Right.
But Birmingham, it does like football. I mean, it is a football town. It's very much a college football town. It's an Alabama-Auburn town, and I don't know unless you fill the roster with Alabama and Auburn kids, I don't know how many people are paying attention. But I thought it was interesting that St. Louis is more than doubling the average attendance.
Oh, yeah, and they're rabid.
Yeah, they seem to be having a good time.
Yeah.
Very rabid.
Very, very.
I don't know. I don't have a Battlehawks jersey. I don't know how you get one.
I have a Bayhawks shirt
There you go. That's almost the same
for
thing.
the G League.
All right. I want to get to the golf because I want to tell you a story.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you've heard of Super Bowl parties, right? People go to those all the time. Mm-hmm. I went to a Masters party last
That
Sunday.
sounds fun. Yes,
It was.
Did
We
they
had,
held up signs? Quiet.
no, but we did have pimento cheese sandwiches and
Sure.
egg salad sandwiches.
Sure.
And a vodka drink called the Azalea.
Yeah.
All these
How was
things
that?
it was a vodka drink. It was fun. There was bourbon as well, and I was more interested in that. But literally, I went to this party, watching the Masters. I don't watch a lot of golf. I've only started playing golf. But the story of the Masters, for those of you who didn't watch, was Rory McIlroy trying to become the 6th player ever to win the career Grand Slam, which is the 4 majors in your career. He won, although he tried to blow it a number of times. He missed a bunch of putts that he probably should have made, and he should have won by 4 strokes, but he won by 1 because he missed all of those putts. And it was a playoff, and it was very exciting, or as exciting as golf can be. And it was interesting. And after you've had a few drinks and a few pimento cheese sandwiches and, having a good time at this party, I enjoyed the last couple of holes because there was excitement. He missed a putt for the tournament on 18, missed that putt, went into a playoff, hit a great shot on his approach shot on 18, and won with a birdie. That's not the important part. The important part is when you think of the greatest 6 golfers, because there's 6 people who have won the career Grand Slam, do you think Rory McIlroy fits, or is he in your consciousness of the greatest golfers? And if you are not a golf fan, who do you think the 5 or 6 greatest golfers are?
Right now, like presently?
No.
Or just ever?
In the history of golf.
Palmer.
Arnold Palmer. It's a
Trevino.
great one. Because Arnold Palmer did not win the career Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Trevino's interesting. That's a good name, but also not on the big leaderboard. But
Nichols.
Okay.
Nicholas.
Jack Nicklaus.
Nichols.
Nicholas.
Ben Hogan.
Jack Nicholson. Hey.
Ben Hogan, yes.
Gary Player.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
a great guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if you just pulled that out of your ass, but he is. You probably did. You probably just pulled that out of your ass, but he has won the career Grand Slam. So we've named 3 of them so far. Well, 4 with McIlroy. Ben Hogan, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, and Rory McIlroy. 4 of the 6 we've named. You have not named Tiger Woods, which is the 5th one.
Oh, see, that was an automatic though.
Well, yes, I get it. Nicholas and Woods are sort of the 2 automatics.
Yeah.
If you ask anybody to say who are the top 2 golfers of all time, they're going to say Woods and Nicholas.
Yeah.
Those are the 2. It's really when you get after that because Arnold Palmer is the one for me. I've always thought of Arnold Palmer as one of the greatest golfers in the history of golf.
Yeah. Most golfers do.
And I was surprised to learn that he never won the PGA. He has he never won the career Grand Slam.
I didn't know that either.
The only one who has won that we
Wake
haven't
Forest
mentioned.
guy, right?
He is a Wake Forest guy. An original Wake Forest. He went to Wake Forest, North Carolina.
Yep.
Gene Sarazen from the 20s is the 6th and last person who has won the career Grand Slam. One other person I might have thought of was Walter Hagen. Walter Hagen. Played in the 30s and 40s, along with Ben Hogan. Mm-hmm. And the person
Maybe
that
that's
I
why
always
you thought it was Hogan.
yeah, probably. And the person that I always think of when I think of golf is Bobby Jones, who played in the 20s, the 10s and 20s. Whoa, God, what is that movie?
Bagger Vance.
It is The Legend of Bagger Vance. That is the one. It's about him and Hogan. It's really good. But Bobby Jones, and this is the Google thing I was looking up, was never a professional. He is arguably one of the greatest golfers of all time, but he was always an amateur. He never turned pro, therefore never played in the PGA, therefore never won the career Grand Slam. But he did win the amateur Grand Slam. He won all of the amateur tournaments. And he designed Augusta National and is a co-founder of the Masters tournament. Pretty good for someone who's not a professional, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so those are sort of the people that I came up with. My sort of top golfers were Nicklaus, Woods, Palmer, Ben Hogan, and Bobby Jones. So those are sort of the guys that I think of when I think of the greatest golfers ever.
I agree.
You could have gone all day. I never would have come up with Gene Saracen.
Saracen, yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Never heard of the guy before he was on every graphic during the Masters tournament. And I'm going, who is this person?
Yeah.
But
and
apparently
why
he was
do we
really,
care?
Apparently he was really good in the 20s.
Someone had like a template they actually left in. That's like the name of the graphic guy.
No, I looked him up. I Googled. He's a real golfer. He died in 1999 at the ripe old age of 97.
Man.
Hey,
when they go early.
And he won
Lifelong live.
Yeah. He won 7 majors. And like I said, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, man.
But again, talking about Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones won 13 majors. But he was never a professional.
I'm glad McElroy won. I like McElroy. He was supposed to be the next like Tiger.
He was.
He hit some turbulence, if you will. But I'm glad he's kind of bounced back, and he's a PGA guy.
He is a PGA guy.
So,
and the thing, no, you're absolutely right. When he won, Rory's won. Oh, how many? 6. I didn't write it down.
2
I thought I read
times
it.
half as many.
Well, he's won the 4, obviously. So he's got the 4 because he's got the Grand Slam. Mm-hmm. I think he's won the Open twice. So he's at either 5 or 6 major championships. Yeah. And look, the list is Jack Nicklaus with 18, Tiger Woods with 15. Third place is 9. Okay, there's a big drop from those 2 to 9. So if you've got 6, if third place all time is 9, you're doing pretty well. Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. Walter Hagen had 11. So third place is 11. Fourth place is 9. That's still pretty good when you're considering the history of golf. Mm-hmm. And you're right. Rory went like 11 years without winning one. Like there was 11 times, and he should have won the Masters a couple years ago, but he missed them. Like a 5-foot putt or something.
Yeah, he had
some ridiculous missed putt, and then put one in the creek and just kind of collapsed.
Happy Gilmore did.
Yeah.
Well, but that's what happens. Like
it's a little a little slant to the left. That's because you have your shoe off.
Yeah.
I mean,
go home.
The thing about it is, it's a hard game, and when things go wrong, they kind of go wrong all at once.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting. Like I said, I had never been to a Masters party. I went to one. It was fun. Had a good time. Wanted to talk golf because we hadn't done that before. We're running up against it. Do you want to hit NBA, NHL playoffs, or you want to save that till later?
Let's save that for later.
Do you want to talk about the WNBA draft, or do you want to save that for never?
No, I mean, I just think I just want to add I think it's great that you're seeing some publicity by the WNBA draft. I'm flipping around and I got Van Lith showing that she's getting drafted to Chicago or whatever. So like that just shows you the growth of the sport. So,
well, it's interesting because look, Paige Beckers went number 1. No surprise, everybody knew that. The girl that went second, his name is Dominique Malonga. She's from France, apparently 6'6", and dunks in games. Dunk. I mean...
Is that unusual for women?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Brittany Griner, I think, is the last woman to dunk in a game.
Okay.
There have been a couple, but you can count them on one hand how many times someone has dunked in an actual game. So she's interesting because nobody's ever heard of her. And then you go on the ACC run. You had Sonia Citron from Notre Dame going 3rd. Georgia Amore, who I'm still counting is from Virginia Tech, even though she transferred to Kentucky, went 6th. Sonia Rivers from NC State went 8th. Haley Van Lith from Louisville, I'm still counting her there. Then she went to LSU and TCU, went 11th. And Isaiah James from NC State went 12th. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at one point ACC players in the top 12, which I think is pretty good for the league.
I agree.
I'm going to say the men aren't going to do that well.
No.
Although Flag and Knipple are both going to probably go in the top 12, but I don't know that there's going to be anybody else.
You see that video of Knipple yelling to Coach K in like 2015? How old he was like this young kid, which is like, oh, that just makes me feel old.
I mean,
like,
2015 is making you feel old.
I know.
What are you going to do when we go back to 2000?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like they go to 2015, and here's Knipple as a young kid with like zits, and he's yelling at Coach K during an NCAA tournament game.
Well, I mean, to be honest, that was 10 years ago. He's 18 now, so he was probably 8.
Yeah.
At the time.
I mean, it's just crazy how
he
that
was
is.
a young kid.
It's crazy how it has
Well, what's crazy is that, well, yeah, that's it. It's that 2015 was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the impressive. Hey, we were having this conversation yesterday. Somebody mentioned something about COVID. COVID's now been 5 years.
That's crazy.
Like,
In some ways, it feels much longer.
really?
But in some ways, it feels just like last week.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like it feels like it. Like if you said how long ago was COVID, I'd say like 3 years, and it's been 5.
Yeah. I can see your take too, though, Tim. It's like you feel like it was just yesterday, but then again, you're like, and then at some point you're like, it feels like it's been a while.
Well, in a way, too, it's like it was just a dream and didn't really even happen.
I think that's the truth of it.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare.
No shit.
Just wish that. Happened.
Yeah.
Well, no kidding. Yeah, so I guess we'll save the playoffs for next week. I'll try to zoom in. Hopefully, Bijan will be here to
Let
talk.
me ask you one question about the NHL, just real quick, just to get your initial thought. There are only 2 original 6 teams in the playoffs, and they're both Canadian. None of the American original 6 teams are in the playoff. Detroit, Chicago, Boston, and the other one. Does that matter to you? Like, does anyone care about the original 6 anymore as far as hockey goes?
I do as far as the Canadians go.
Okay, they're still in it.
Yeah.
But they're the last team in.
Yeah. They beat by beating the Hurricanes.
The Hurricanes, right. And if they had lost that game and not made the playoffs, there would only be 1 original 6 team in. Toronto would have been the only one. But Toronto and Montreal both made it. But the 4 American ones did not. And it's just, it's like, do you care? Does it really matter to you if the original 6 teams are in the playoffs now? I mean, it's been a while since expansion.
Other than the Hurricanes, I don't really pull for any American teams.
Okay. I mean, you're a Bruins fan and they didn't make it, so that sucks. But
Yeah.
other than it being not the Bruins, do you think about it? I can't even think of who the 4th one is. Yeah, Chicago,
Rangers?
Detroit. It is the Rangers. God. I was like, Chicago, Detroit, Boston, New York. Why didn't I think of New York? Yes, the Rangers.
Yeah.
So none of those 4 are in. But it doesn't affect me one way or the other. I'm a Blues fan. I'm post-expansion anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I only care. I love it that it was the Canadiens
yeah.
who got there. I mean, it's not really at the expense of the Hurricanes because they're
the
already
Hurricanes
in
are
anyway.
still in, yeah.
But yeah, I like when the Canadian teams are in more than any of the American teams.
Such a poser.
Well, I think the Winnipeg Jets are one of the top teams in the league, so I think they've got a real shot. Canadian teams have not won the Stanley Cup in 20 years. I know the Canadians were the last to do it. I just can't remember the year. Yeah. I want to say it was early 2000s. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if a Canadian team can win. I think it's going to be Winnipeg if there is one. But we can talk more about it next week. I just wanted to get your opinion on what do you think the original 6 still mattered or not? I don't think that it does.
No.
I'm not swayed by it at all.
No.
All right. Wrap us up.
All right, what's that time again? We're going to get the heck up out of here.
Not that one.
Hit that one.
This
Hit
one.
that one again.
Oh, there we go. Okay. For Tim Beeman, Everett Hutto, I'm Ty Collins. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Fan Interference. We'll see you and talk to you next week. Peace.
The views and opinions of this podcast are solely those of the contributors and not necessarily those of our distributors or hosting company. This podcast is copyrighted, and no material from this podcast can be used or reproduced without the expressed written permission of the Less Desirables Network and Such Limited Incorporated.